So this is what we have yesterday. We did the user schema, which is just tell the server how's the data stored in the database. Right? Each user going to have a username, password, first name, last name, email, and we also mentioned a date created. It's going to be the date when the user was created in the database. Right? And also we created the model server.js, which is just using the connection string here to point to the localhost 27017 of the WebMaker database we created yesterday. So let's start the application. So first thing we'll do here is MongoDB. Right, to start the Mongo database, you should be able to see waiting for connections on port 27017. Right, it's waiting for the connections on port 27017. So we can leave that here. Let's open a new one here. So again, let's do the nodeman server. Let's run in the server side and open a new one on the right, which is do the npm start to run the client side. So there's three things to run right now: the MongoDB for the Mongo database, the nodeman to use the nodes to running the server side. And also we need to do npm start to run the React client side. Right, just give it a minute. Should be much faster because I'm changing the computer. Right, it's loading. Meanwhile, it is loading. We can actually just start to rewrite stuff. Right, it's going to be there surely. Yeah, we have it here. So the functions we have in the server in the services folder, user server.js. Those are the functions we have in the server side. It's including the find users by username and the password, check if username is taken, create a new user, find the user by ID, update the user. Yeah, it's 1, 2, 3, 4 functions. This one is it's a really big one, but it's still just 4. Yeah, so including the retrieving information, updating information, delete information. For user, we do not have delete. We have the find user by username, find user by credential. We have find user by ID, and we have update. Right, those 4 functions. And create a new user. Yeah, 4 functions. Also, in our symbol assignment requirements, I think I also mentioned how many functions we should have there. In the WebMaker number 4, we should be able to find the list of functions we have for the user here. Right, the list of functions we have for the user. Remember, the find user by username and the find user by credential are combined together into one. And yeah, our job is to rewrite this part. That's the only thing we need to do today. We're gonna start with create new user. That's a very short one. So right now, the create new user is getting the user information from request body. Getting the user information from request body. That is correct. We still can get the information from request. And users.push user, where we remove the users. We do not have users anymore in the server, so this one not gonna work. All right. So this is a part we'll have to rewrite. And we're gonna delete this one. So we are going to need to send out a request to the database, ask database to do to install this new user, and then come back here to send out a response back to user. All right, let's do it. So to call the user information here in the models folder here, user schema, in the same folder, user folder, we're going to create a new file, which is called user.model.js. Right? Inside here, we're going to write some functions to connect with the database. And user server.js going to call the functions in the user model.js. Try to separate the file, make it more readable. So all the user service, all the functions in user server, they're still handling the request, getting a request from the client, but it will call the function in the user model.js, and then user model.js is going to return something to the user server.js function, and user server sends back the response to the client. So it's one more step, right? So user server cannot directly give the response to the client. It's going to call the function in the user model, and then getting a response from it, and then forward the response to the client, right? Forward the response to the client. Let's do it right now. So user model.js here. Again, we're going to do a constant mongoose is equals to require mongoose. Right? We're trying to import the mongoose. And we also want to import the user schema we created here, so we know like how the user going to be looks like. We can check, is the user really the user you want to create it really have those informations. The user you want to create it, does it have username? Does it have password? If it doesn't have a first name, I'm going to default it. If it doesn't have a last name, default it. And same thing for the email and date created. Right. So we're going to say constant user schema, so capitalize it, user schema is equal to require slash user schema. Right, this is a file which is imported, and we're going to using the schema to create a model. So it's going to be constant user model is equal to mongoose the model user model is just the name of the model, and then we take the schemas we wanted, so which is going to be user schema. Right. So all of this can be found in the Mongoose library documentation. Right. I found it in the Mongoose library documentation. If you Google for the Mongoose, they actually have its own website. Maybe not this one. I think it's this one. Yeah, Mongoose. And read the documentation, and I just read through everything, and how to create, it has how to define your schema. This is what we did for the user, right? And how to create a model and instant method. So those things are all coming from the documents of it. It's just library help you to communicate between the server and the Mongo database, right? That's the library help you to do it. So the Mongoose is for the NoSQL database. If we're going to using SQL database, there's another library called Sequelize. Sequelize. This is just similar to the Mongoose. It helps you to transfer the JavaScript language to the SQL language, so you will be able to insert information into the SQL database. The same thing as a Mongoose. Well, what you write is JavaScript, but the Mongo database itself, it doesn't really know what is JavaScript. So this library helps you transfer your language, your JavaScript language, into the Mongo database command, like to insert information, to find the priority, to asking information from a database. So this is what those library does. Right, transfer your command into the Mongo database. And same thing for Sequelize. It's transfer your command into the SQL language and asking data from the database. And because the information stored in the SQL database are tables. And the Sequelize is also going to help you to transfer those information back to the JSON object, so you can directly use it in the JavaScript files. Right, so those functions just help you to build a bridge between the database and your code. Alright, so use the model we just created, and inside here we can start to create those functions. So we can say user model the create user, right? Let's create a user function. We had it inside the user server, right? Create new user. So we're going to create a function called create a user, which is a function that takes a user and do something. Or actually, we can create that as a arrow function if you like. So you can do it like this, or you can just do it like a arrow function, takes a user and do something. It's the same thing, right? So writing in this way or writing in the function is the same thing, right? Function user, and choose the way you like. It doesn't make any difference. Arrow function is just shorter, so just save a time to write a keyboard function, right? Instead of function, you can write the arrow key. Right. So create a user. So this function is going to create a new user. Insert this user we have from the server to the database. And the Mongoose does have some built-in method we can directly use. The one we're going to use here is going to be user model.create. There's a built-in function called create, and it takes the object you want to create. We create a user. Right. So basically, that's it for this function. Whenever you try to register a new user, we want to call this function. And what it does is going to call the default function that Mongoose have to create this new user. Let's actually export this file. So module.exports equal to user model. Well, actually, we don't even need to write this function. We can just directly using the user model.create if you want. Yeah, just leave it like this. So this one is create new user into MongoDB. Right. Just leave some comments here. And right now we're gonna connect these two files together. So the user server, when it getting the request body, we actually want to call the let's see. So constant res is equal to await. We can send out a request to the database this time. Await user model. We need to import user model, right? In this one, we export it, and in the user server, we're going to import it so we can use the function inside it. So let's put it on the top. Inside the function, we're going to say constant user model is equal to require quotation marks dot slash models folder and models the server file, models server.js. The .js can be just ignored because the default setting is JavaScript file if you do not mention any extension. Here it is. So we're using the await, so I have to put async before the question parentheses. I think so. Can I do that? Oh, I cannot use res. I already have a res. This one I'm gonna call it. Just call it data, right? Await user model and the create user, right? This function we just created. User model.create user, and it takes the user as an input, right? Takes the user as input, and once we're getting that data, we send it back to the user. So raise the JSON, this data to the client, right? So now it's not gonna push the user directly into the user's array. Instead, we call the function in the user model.js, this one. And this function going to handle everything. It's going to create a new user in database, and also it's going to give a response to here. Right, this is going to be return something. And what it does once this one is done, we send back the whatever data is respond to the client. Let's actually try it, see how it's going to work. I actually want to open a new window here. This is going to be Mongo. Right, so we can give some command here. Show DBs. The database I have. Use web-maker. Web-maker. This is the database I want to use. Show collections. Right. So db.user.find.pretty. So here are the users I have. I have Alice, Bob, Charlie, and Shiyu. Let's try to create a new one. See if that works. Right. Let's try to create a new one. So my application is here. I'm gonna create a new one. Register. This is a create new user. Username here is, let's say, m symbol. Password is m symbol. And word password is m symbol. Let's hit register. Nothing is happening. F12. Getting an error, which is server error 500. Let's take a look of our code. Back here, I do get a server error. What does it say? Users is not defined in the line 18. Oh, okay. So because the register going to first checking if the username is taken, but like our checking function is not working anymore. We need to rewrite this part. Yeah, I'm gonna have to rewrite this one first before we test it. So this is a find user by username and password, and also find user by username. Let's gonna rewrite this whole function. So we're gonna get rid of the let user and those two if cases. We're still getting the username and the password from the client side, and then we need to write if username and password. We need to call a function inside the user model. So something like let's make this one as async. This function make it as async. So we're gonna have to say constant user, or just say data is equal to user model dot find user by credentials. Right, give it the username and the password. We don't have this function yet, but just put it here. And once we're getting that data, we are going to we're just going to do the same thing. Let the user here, and just update the user here. User equal to that. Don't forget to put a wait here. And else, if we only have username, else if there's only username, we're doing the user is equal to await user model dot find user by username. This is a function name. I just made them up. They don't exist there. So you can basically create your own function names. Username. Right, and once we're getting them, I just restart JSON user. So if you not restart JSON user. So if you compare this one to the old one, it's basically very similar. Still have the two if cases and have a rest JSON user, and the only thing we changed in the curly braces, like what we do for actually what this case is matches. Right, when the case is match, we actually, instead of directly modify the array or looking for that in the array, we call another function in the user model. Right, we call another function in the user model. Right, so in the user model, we're going to create those two functions. The first function is find user by credentials. It's actually very easy to write. So let's say add some comments here. Find user by credentials. Let's do some comments. So it's going to be user model dot find user. Make sure you have the same capitalization. Capitalize the first character of each word, not the first one. By credentials. It has a username. It takes a password. All right, this is what we have inside here. I take username and password. So this function return user model. So we're going to call another default function, not default function. I mean built-in function we can use to find the element inside the database, which is called find1. So the find1 going to looking for the first data we found matches what we need here. We need to looking for the one has username is equal to the username we give, and the password equal to the password we give. You see an equal here. Yeah. So this one, find1 is a function gonna looking for the data that matches the first data that come up matches like a username, finds the one documents. The conditions are cast to their respective schema types, something like that. So that means just we're looking for the document has a username equal to the username we give, and the password equal to the password we give. Right, by the first one come up. So if two users have the same username and password, it's gonna only looking for the first one. But the truth is like a username has to be unique, so it won't be two users have the same username. Alright, so we're going to use the same thing to do the find user by username. So it's going to be find user by username. User model dot find user by username is equal to a function takes a username and return the same thing. User model dot find one and takes curly brace, which is looking for the username equal to the username. Right, this time we're looking for if the username a match. Alright, find the user by username. So now it's supposed to be working. Let's try it. We'll make your application. Let's try to register a new user. Let's clear the console. Click on register again. I don't get anything. Let's check in the server. I'm getting another error here. Let's see what I have here. Type error. User model find user by username is not a function. This is at user server line 13. Here, find the user by username is not a function. Did I misspell it? Let's copy the username. Let's function name here. Find the user by username. Looks correct. I don't see anything wrong with it. Let's try it again. Register. Not working. Maybe I cannot write it like that. Let me see. Is equal to a function? I need to write it like this. Let me try it. Let me try it. Still not working. Find the user by username is not a function, but it is a function. Did I write anything wrong here? Let me try one thing. So let me comment this out for 1 second, and let's try to do this way. User model dot find user by username. Right, let's put that. Let's call it. Give it a name. Let's call it like a find user by username. Right, then we'll do the function afterwards. Function find user by username is a function takes a username and do the thing inside here. See if that works. Find user by username. Find user by username. All right, let's try it this way. So let's try it out. Register. So what do we have here right now? Is that find user by username not a function? Still the same error. There should be something I did wrong. Let me double check it. So that's not the issue. That makes sense. Let's comment this out. Back. Find the user by username is not a function. User model require models models.server. Oh, I imported the wrong file here. Yeah, that makes sense. So let's re-import it. /models folder, users folder, and the user.model. Right, this is the correct file. I imported the wrong file. We're looking for the user model file, right? So I imported the wrong one. This is correct. Let's try it again. So clear this up. Register. Still not working. Let's check it again. User model validation fail. ID cast to object ID fail. Okay, so it's trying. So remember, like when we're trying to right now, when we insert our information into the database, the database is going to create a ID for us, right? It's going to create a unique ID for us. So if we already have a user ID inside this inside the user, right? Inside the user object, it won't gonna work because like it cannot create a random ID for us because we already have one, and that ID is not valid, so it's gonna give us error. So we're gonna delete that ID from the user coming from the client, right? So let me say it again. So because when we insert information into the database, the MongoDB is going to create an ID for us, user's ID underscore ID. So when we create this user by ourselves, we do not have to create ID by ourselves because MongoDB is going to create it for us. But in this case right now, we actually created an ID there. We use a UUID in the client side, if you remember that, and which is going to cause an issue because that ID is not a valid format. That ID was a string. But the MongoDB is actually using another format of ID. It's called object ID. It's a special format, and it's going to cause an issue if we are create an ID by ourselves. It's going to be some kind of like duplicates. So we're going to get rid of that ID from the objects. So we're going to actually go to the client side, components, user, register file, register. When we unsubmit here, register, there's ID here, ID UUID. We're gonna remove it, right? So in the register function, there is ID UUID. We're gonna remove that. We're gonna solve the issue for us. Also, that means we do not need a UUID anymore, so we can basically just get rid of this import. Right? So let's try it again. So let's register a new user. Let's say Mongo, verify password Mongo, register. Right, it works. I'm in the profile right now. I don't have information here because the profile is still using the old functions. We need to fix that. So let's check in the database, see if the Mongo is added to the database right now. So if I go to the my terminal for the Mongo, and I try to say db.user.find. .pretty, let's see if we have Mongo inside it. Let's see the Mongo is here, right? It has its own ID, which is created by the database. First name empty, last name empty, email empty. Username is Mongo, password is Mongo. It also have a date created. It's 2019, May 29th, and the time here is time for the UTC time, I think. Yeah, it's a time in London. We'll be able to format it if we want to actually use it. Alright, but it's just give an idea like when is this object is created. And yeah, so that means the register is actually working. Right, we actually added this information into the database. And what else we need to do here? Say we change the find user by username and password. We change the create new user, and we also need to rewrite the find user by ID. Right, let's rewrite this one. So firstly, we are getting the user information from the request parameter. Or actually, we haven't tried to log in it. Let me try to log in first. If I type something random, it's still not gonna work. And if I type in shiyu login, it actually works. Right, and login actually also works right now. So find the user by ID. This is the function we use to find the user information for this user, right? To show the information of this user. So we're going to need to rewrite it. So we're getting the ID from the request parameter. It's still the same. Anything coming from a request should be the same. And this one, user equals user.find. Looking for the user inside the array. This one going to be rewrite. We cannot find a user from the array. The user should come out from the server side. All right, so we're going to rewrite it. So we're going to say user is equal to await user model the let's say find user by ID and takes this UID, right? So now the server doesn't care about how does database give me the data. We're just asking from database, and anything come from database, it just forward that response to the client. So in the user model, we're going to create this function, find user by ID. Let's copy this name. So we're going to say find user by ID. So it'd be user model dot find user by ID is equal to a function takes the UID and return user model dot there's a function called find by ID. All you need to do is just pass in the UID inside here. It's going to give you the information who has this ID. Find it by ID is just function to find the documents with a specific ID. Right? Let's try it right now. If I log in right now, let's clear this up. Log in as Shiyu. Log in. I'm getting an error. Another server error. Let's check it. Await. Okay, I'm using await. I also need to have async there. Await is here. If I use a by ID, I need to have async here. Yeah. Try it again. Login. Right. So here is the information for Shiyu. Username, email, first name, and last name. It's all here. And I can also try to log in as a Mongo I created before, because right now data is in database. It's going to be there forever. Mongo. Let's say I log in the Mongo. It has its username. Those things just empty. Remember, I didn't give the email, first name and last name. All right, and that's it for the login. And the last function we left here is update user. Right, allows us to update the user into a new one. Again, so the request body is still the same, but the users need to be rewrite. This part needs to be rewritten. Right, so we're not gonna be do anything but inside this file. Just call the function in the user model. User model going to do this for us. So let's rewrite this one. Let's say update user. So we're going to be user model dot update user. It takes this new user as object. We're going to have to create some await and async. And then we're going to do await here. Let's say constant data is equal to await for this one to be finished, and just reach the JSON the data to the client. Whatever data you give me, I just give it back to the client. Okay, let's go ahead and create this update user function inside user model.js. So update user. Right, update the user. So let's say user model the update. Okay, we're gonna using update. It's just update the user is equal to function. It takes a user. So we're gonna return user model the update. We're gonna use update 1 here. So we'll have update 1 and update many. If there's the many things we want to update at the same time, we're gonna use update many. But in this case, we're only going to update the current user, so it's going to be using update 1. Update 1 takes two things. The first thing is which one you want to update. I want to update the one has underscore ID is equal to this user the underscore ID. This is one I want to update. And what do you want to update it into? I want to update it into this user, the new user's information. So this is what do we need to write here? This is what who we want to update and what we want to update that into. Right? Let's try it. So let's log in as Mongo. Let's update its email. So let's say your email is mongo@gmail.com. First name is Mongo. Last name just DB. Right? Let's try it. Update. Update successfully. Oh, I'm getting an error. What's wrong with this? Let's go check it later. So firstly, let's make sure that it comes into the database by Mongo. DB user the file pretty. Let's say the information for Mongo is here. First name, last name, email, username, and password. Everything is inside here. Alright, so that means updated successfully. But what's wrong with this error here? Let's see. It's a profile, line 82, something about unchanged. Profile, let's see, source component user profile, line 82. Something wrong with this guy here. What's wrong with you? The component is changing. I actually have no idea what's wrong with it. Let's try it again. Mongo, change to Mongo 1. It's still giving me the error. Interesting. Type text, ID, username, name, username, value is username, unchanged is this unchanged. Is that because of this? Let me comment this out for a second. Let's try it. Mongo 1, 2. Okay, doesn't have that issue anymore. So this rest data is not the user information, I believe. Let's say console.log rest data. Let's say what come up from database. I think that something come up is not a user object, so it's giving us an issue. Let's update. Yeah, I got n1 modified 1 and OK. That's not a user, so I cannot call the show user on it. Right, so just delete these 2 lines. I think it's gonna be fine. I don't actually need that. And also I can get rid of this constant risk to see a wait here. Yeah. Okay, actually make it shorter. It's gonna be fine. So it's right now. If I do Mongo 1, nothing error, and Mongo, yep, everything is working. If I change it to Alice, it should give me an error says username is taken. Yeah, username is taken. Please try another one. So I can just not using Alice. I have to using something like a Mongo. Yeah. All right. So that's it for this user part. Everything is working and our data is in database right now. It's gonna be there forever unless you delete it by yourself. Right, but remember this database is only working on this computer. It's not a database running online, so this database is only available for your when you're using the same computer. If you are going to push the code to the hierarchy, we have to create an online database so everyone can share the same data. We're actually going to do that on the when we finish all the information here. When we finish the widget part, when we create that, that's actually easy to create. Let's see. Let me see what else. I think that's it. Yeah. So after you move the user information, you can try to move the website information as well. It's basically just the same story. We're gonna create the website. Model website schema and create and rewrite the functions in the website into the website server to getting the information from the website model. We're going to rewrite the function inside here. This is going to be something we'll do tomorrow, but you can start earlier. It should be something similar, right? And I'm going to upload the videos to the YouTube and also the code.